Make time for Haste, a game of Dum-Dums and Dragons. Haste is a quick-play, cooperative role-playing game. The adventure runner for this campaign is the adventurous Marcus Lake.
Let's get going. Let's hurry. Haste.
Last time, our party of dragon repo specialists were contracted to repossess a dragon from Count Singuinous, the undead. They crash-landed in a field of corpse flowers.
Dark, desecrated corpses of some kind, and from them these wildflowers seem
Called
to
it hell.
Hell.
Hell. Totally hell, 100% hell.
I wasn't on the page with you before, but now, a little bit.
It seems nice.
They confused a giant death golem, gathering departed party guests for a ghoulish gala into giving them directions to the castle.
Well, we're in the Potter's Field here. You're nowhere near the mansion. The mansion's that way.
And now, on to our adventure.
I'll walk.
Okay.
I'll start walking that way.
He returns to plucking up the bride's party, and the rest of you...
I think we follow.
Yeah, we're trucking through.
Okay, so you wander off in the direction that he's indicated, and after some time you emerge from this magenta fog and from beneath the canopy of the pink cotton candy trees. And in the distance, you can see a majestic-looking estate. There is a sprawling, multi-winged mansion off in the distance. You can see that the... but if you're heading kind of north now, you can see that the western wing is a bright pink color. Many windows, a couple of stories. Did I say pink?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the eastern wing is mint. Mint colored. You can see there's scaffolding and ladders, and there's figures hastily painting. There's one set of figures painting pink, and one set of figures painting mint, as if competing. In front of that mansion that you see there's an estate yard, and you see a couple of tents in there, and you see people mingling, all dressed to the nines. Some people, some not people. There's all kinds of interdimensional figures here. You can hear some music playing in the distance with some kind of live band, most likely. Closer still than this estate yard that you see, there is a wall. High brick wall, and on top of that there's a kind of a wrought iron fence that comes up with spikes, and it says go away.
Yeah, do not enter kind of vibe.
And just beyond that wall, like on the back side of that wall, you see some floating orbs that seem to be patrolling this wall. Kind of flesh like crack-caked desert earth with the stalks, eyeballs on them.
This adventure's been very Cronenberg. That's not a diss.
Yeah.
That's good.
It gets worse.
Or better, depending.
But in this wall, you see a large arched gate, okay? And there is a drive, if you will, that kind of winds up to... Although you're not really near the drive at the moment, having just emerged from the woods. But on this drive, you see a number of very fancy carriages with drawn by nightmares or kelpies or names of things, what have you.
Sure.
Other things that entice people to get on their back and kill them.
Right.
Maybe a dozen of these carriages waiting to get in. Obviously, many people are already within the party awaiting what seems to be some kind of, perhaps, a wedding, one assumes.
I nudge NameLess and I point to the mansion. It's like, it's always the rich assholes that go deadbeat on their dragon payments. You notice that?
Every single one. They
You
can't
notice
afford
that?
a fancy wedding. They can't afford to pay
Can't
for
afford
their dragon.
a dragon payment. Ugh.
There's some kind of argument occurring near the back of the line of carriages.
Ooh, let's...
Yeah,
should
chaos
investigate that.
opportunity.
Let's do that.
So do you want to move along the forest line here towards that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we keep a lowish profile, and we make it over there.
Okay. Heading back there, you see that there is a band of gnomes, magical little fellows with red caps, and very foul mouths. I'm not going to repeat any of the things that they say during this argument,
Oh,
but
I'm loving this.
very firm. They're arguing. They seem to have accidentally bumped into a carriage in front of them, and they're arguing with the carriageman. You're not sure who's within that carriage. But the gnomes appear to be with some kind of florist company. And they do not have a carriage here, but a float. It is a gigantic float with a huge horse on it, covered in a multitude of colorful flowers.
And these look like traditional non-flesh-eating flowers. Or do these look like kind of a similar...
Are you a botanist?
No, not really.
Roll a wits check.
Let's just assume I fail it.
I mean, given recent experiences, you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
They're colorful.
Okay.
There's a lot of things I didn't know flowers could do today.
In my potion brewing experience, I would use flowers. Are these poisonous in any way?
You don't believe so. You think that they're picked for their bright colors, their pleasant smell, and they may have some cultural significance amongst the undead when it comes to marriages. Some of them are lilies and whatnot.
Oh, that's nice. Well, this would be a fantastic place to hide to get into the wedding.
Yeah. Should we hide or should we just walk along? I don't know. I'm feeling very brash today. Maybe we should walk along.
I was thinking of hiding in the pleasant.
Let's go find out what the gnomes are arguing about. Maybe we can resolve their issue. Does anybody here in the party speak gnomish? Are they speaking common?
Yeah. Can we understand? It seems like we can understand at least the swear words.
Typical dimensional cant.
Yeah.
So there is a dispute. Again, it's almost 95% swear words. But there's a dispute related to the impact of the floral horse and the carriage ahead of it. It seems as if the carriageman had been upset that there was an impact, and he had gone back in order to have a discussion with whoever was steering this horse, this float. And then he seems to have swallowed his tongue at this point because he's just getting berated by a six-pack of irate gnomes at this point. Right?
So maybe we'll go with NameLess's suggestion. I think that's what I vote for. They seem hella distracted. Maybe we can sneak in the Trojan horse.
Is this line moving forward, or are these? Is this all stopped?
45 seconds to a minute, and a carriage passes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is there an obvious opening for the float?
What would we roll within haste in order to examine or?
Well, I have a special ability that I picked. I can speak to plants. So I was wondering if I could just walk up to the rear of the float and say, "Hey, let me in here, bud."
Okay.
Bud, because he's
a flower, bud.
Which camera am I in?
Could we have a charm?
Yes.
As you whisper to
I
the
would
blooms.
like to. Yeah, I will try and. Because, I still got to convince them.
Right, just because you can talk to him doesn't mean they'll like
So
it.
everybody else is also
Charming
creeping
leaf.
up to the back of the horse while he whispers to the flowers?
I'm also wrapping myself in my leaf as a disguise, once I'm in there.
15.
That's nice.
Okay. So, you, in the distance you hear like a pluck, 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 so, pluck, 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 so, pluck, so, pluck, so.
Excuse me, are you whispering to my horse's butt over here?
One of the gnomes walks around the corner.
Why are you people crouched behind my float?
I'm going to step up and be stupid again. I heard there was a little bit of a fender bender situation here, and we need help to get this resolved before the thing gets blown out of proportion here. Is there any actual physical damage done to either of the vehicles?
I am standing behind with my arms crossed, looking intimidating, in order to sort of help along this situation.
I'm going to try to use some of my old school, royal charm. I think
roll your
should...
charm.
Okay.
Are you going to let this happen again?
18.
Double nines.
Double nines and 18.
Okay.
Could not get a better roll.
Look, if you think it's easy to steer a horse, how about you try it?
All right. I'm not officially I'm not officially licensed, but I have driven many of floral horses in my time.
Well, it's not that easy. It takes 4 people to pilot this thing.
Well, I've got 3 other people
Stand up.
right here.
We're all here.
What, you see that tent over there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where it's got to go.
Well, you boys, you've been through enough today. Why don't you take the break?
Hit the buffet.
Hit the buffet.
Hit the buffet.
Do what you got to do.
One of the gnomes in the back is like,
Open bar!
and soon they're,
Yeah.
soon they're
Who
gone.
you're partying with later.
Yeah, we gotta hang out with those gnomes.
We gotta hang out with
we
those
gotta
gnomes.
remember if we can.
I gotta learn a couple of those cuss words. What was that, man? That guy started crying. Holy cow!
Meanwhile, the flower says, right here, big boy.
No.
I'll get back to you guys. Wait. I'm a married man.
So it's the horse float
Does it count when
opens
it's a
to
plant?
admit you all.
Yeah.
We have an understanding.
So a couple 10 or 15 minutes pass, and there's some levers, and it's a little shaky at first, but you manage not to run into a carriage.
Right.
Also, stinks like booze in here,
Yeah.
despite the pleasant flower smell. And soon you've come up to the gate, and you see that there is a uniformed ghoul in the toll house here. And he approaches the front of the horse, and he says,
I'm gonna just let that
he
stand.
goes like this, and the gates
All right.
swing open, and you...
I tell Dirk, smart thinking. That was good. I didn't even know you spoke ghoul. That was great.
That was pretty good.
So the drive leads up to there's a tent on one side, a tent on the other side. There's the front of the house from here. The drive goes around to the back of the house, and you get a feeling there seems to be some activity back there as well. There's a sweeping staircase that goes up to an obvious ornate front entrance. Where would you like to steer your float horse?
The float horse
Well, I
was
have an
supposed to go to a
idea.
tent.
Yes, the
Does it-
tent on the right was the one that they had initially indicated.
Do we see any indication of what purpose that tent serves?
It's emitting some kind of horrible music at the moment.
Right.
Kind of like the reception, kind of maybe.
Possibly there's a level of poetry that's happening that makes your hair tingle.
What was your idea, Nameless?
Well, I was thinking that we light this cart on fire and then send it down the road as a distraction, hopefully into that horrible music, and then we just go get the dragon.
But we don't know where the dragon is.
The dragon's right there.
It's
where
in
all
the-
the orb things are.
It's in the courtyard.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a dragon. It's going to be hard to miss, I imagine. Well, does anybody... I never forgot to ask. Does anybody know what type of dragon this is? Because I believe there's more than one type of dragon out there.
It's a dragon as a dragon.
Dragon.
A dragon.
You can't
Job's a
remember.
dragon. Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm checking. Anybody else know? Before we set this thing on fire?
Yes.
All right, so let's set it on fire then. Huh?
Blank spot in the forgetful potion
Yeah.
taking. Okay, so do you want to leave the horse before you set it on fire, or?
No,
Yeah,
it goes
probably.
faster if it's on fire. Is it a horse? I thought it was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
Well,
as
it'll
it
be
was.
a nightmare when we set it on fire.
Yeah, okay.
I think we get out of it. I'm
probably
ready to
should let
push
the
it.
horse
I'm ready to
go.
give it a good shove.
Yeah.
Before we light it on fire, I'm gonna splash a couple of my more flammable alcoholic beverages on there,
Yeah.
just
Take
to,
the
just to
emergency
throw
break
some.
off.
And
Take
I'll
the
like,
emergency break off.
little tiny little spark.
And I'm going to cover my ears
Okay.
because I don't want to hear the plants screaming.
Sorry, guys.
So out in front of this mansion, with a crowd around you, you splash alcohol all over
We should
the
have done
horse,
this in private.
and people begin to pay attention when you're dousing it, and you start to get kind of a read on the crowd as you strike a tinder to immolate this horse, because half the crowd here they're not alive, they're undead,
Yeah.
Right.
ostensibly for the bridal party, right? And the other half of the crowd seem to be some fashion of magma people.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right.
I am going to turn to the crowd that is gathered while this is happening. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
the
wow, we're
dead
going this full
and
route.
the flaming, we have arrived.
There's some awkward but encouraging applause.
Yeah.
I was literally going to, as soon as we set the horse on fire, just turn to the crowd and go, ta-da! So,
Before you
Realistic
stand,
I think we're setting
the
that up.
four members of the...
Don't say Dragon Repo.
of the Knot Hill Theater.
Of
Of the Knot Hill Theater.
Oh, do we want to give them our actual address?
Oh,
Now there's
no.
some recognition there and some.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a
applause.
famous
Further
theater.
applause.
Don't worry about
These
it.
people are hip.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Behind me are the performers of the Knot Hill Theater. And watch our first trick.
I
Exactly.
And
Perfect
with
timing.
that, the horse covered in lilies bursts into magnificent flame.
Ta-da!
I'm going to immediately run to the side and push it towards that tent.
There are great cheers.
Wait, I pull out a concertina because I picked master musician for my other special ability, and so I'm just playing it off as it it's doing some traveling music as it starts to roll.
Next time on Haste, a game of Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Do that. Create an illusory double of yourself.
Illusory double.
Illusory.
Illusory.
Yes.
And Dirk punches it.
It ruins it.
Fist might go through it, but Dirk has just remembered that my flaw is that I'm afraid of magic.
Damn it. Oh, this is gonna make this so awkward.
I'm quite frightened.
I am your host, MC and editor of Haste the Game Show, Tristian Spillman. And my wife helped too a little bit. Thanks, honey. Thanks, Katrina.